afternoon and welcome to the news. I'm Demi.
And I'm Majid.
Today's news is how low-cost airlines are giving criminals cheap ways of leaving the country to avoid prosecution.
Chief Constable Bernard Hogan believes it is unacceptable that someone can leave the country and then be safe from the authorities.
Police are demanding that the law can be changed so that they can bring suspects who have fled the country to other European countries back for questioning.
At this moment in time, if a suspect flees their country to a European country, they can't lawfully be brought back.
In other news, this week is Anti-Racism Week in Oldham. To tell us more about it, here is an interview with Steve Titley.
Please welcome Steve, who works for children, young people and families at Oldham Council. But today he is representing the No Place for Racism in Oldham campaign.
To begin with, what is the campaign about?
Well, I suppose first and foremost it's an awareness campaign for people across Oldham in all communities to get the message out, no place for racism in Oldham, and how to report a racist incident if you're a victim of a racist incident.
Why do you have the campaign?
As I say, I suppose it's the awareness, but it's also we want to help with the message. There's lots of things going on in Oldham in recent years where we're pulling together and realising we're all Oldhamers, whatever our background, so that's part of it as well. So it's there to make sure as many people know as possible that they haven't got to put up with behaviour that isn't acceptable, really. And it's to bring people together. We all have other things like diversity celebrations, competitions. Oldham Athletics have got involved. We've had some young people from schools taking the banner around the pitch linking it to kick racism out of football. So it's there to get the message out, celebrate Oldham as one town and say, you know, this is the message. Oldham is, we don't want to hold Oldham held back by racism.
What punishments are made if people are racist towards other people?
That's a good question. I'm not a policeman, although I do work with the police on occasions for the partnership that we've got with Race Equality Partnership, the police, the council, and lots of other organisations. But some incidents, can be either incidents where the police will caution, or if it's a crime, it can be kind of a racially aggravated element to a crime. So you can end up getting a worse sentence for a racially aggravated element to perhaps an assault or something along those lines. So it does add to the severity of the situation.
What is a racist incident?
That's another very good question. It's going back to the case with Stephen Lawrence when there was a big review. The police looked at their procedures, and from that a lot of other organisations have done the same thing, and it became in law that it's the perception or what people feel. So you don't necessarily have to be the victim, but if you're there and you hear a racist comment or you see an incident and there's racism involved, you can report it. It's what you believe is a racist incident. The police or whoever, or if it's in a workplace, then the company would investigate it. Will investigate it. And it may be that it's proved that it wasn't a racist incident, but they take it at face value first off and say it's what people think. So it could be a perception, it could be a comment, it could be something a bit more serious than assault where there's racial comments made, or those kind of things.
Is it the same whether black or white?
Yeah, another good question. In law, and certainly with our campaign, it's one Oldham as well. And whatever your background, I'm an Oldhamer now. Probably tell from my accent. I don't come from these parts, but it's all one Oldham. And under the law, we're all the same. Whether it's an Asian heritage person who's making the racist comment, or a white British heritage person making the racist comment, it's the same in law. What can you
in our communities do to prevent racism?
Well, I think prevention, it's an old thing, isn't it? We've heard it all before. Prevention is better than cure, but it's one of the best things you can say really about anything, like an issue like this. And behind the message, here's how to report racism holding us back. It's holding the country, but it's not just Oldham the racist incidents happening, of course. And really, we look into the diversity celebration underneath. That's why schools and other organisations across Oldham get involved in the competition. We have a No Place for Racism sports tournament. It links into all the stuff that schools and other organisations do across Oldham. It's about, you've got to stop the behaviour. It's not right that people do sometimes get abused in the street just for who they are. That's wrong. But you've also got to work on the underlying attitudes beneath that. I mean, people can, think what they want to think. We can't stop people thinking, but we would hope that when they sit back and think, we can get people together and think actually we've got more in common than we've got different. So then it doesn't occur to people to make a racist comment or racially abuse somebody. They think, oh, that's wrong, it's daft, and it's wrong.
Yeah. How do you feel about racism?
I suppose, yeah, that's another good one as well. I mean, personally, I think we've moved on in Britain. We've moved on in Oldham and in Britain. But when I think back to when I was younger, I think people let it go by a lot more. And I'm glad that not just our campaign, there's lots of others kick racism out of football and stuff like that, have moved on. And I think it's important that we have moved on. And I think that it holds individuals back. It's like with any behaviour, like a bullying situation, you find the bullies actually, it says more about them because they're not happy about themselves, that they're picking on other people. I think it holds people back, it holds communities back, and it's just not right. I suppose basically in short. Yeah.
Have you ever been in a racist position yourself?
I've not been a direct victim of racist incident personally, but I have, when I was younger, when I wasn't involved in this kind of work, at football matches a long time ago. You don't hear it now, touch wood, you don't hear it in England football matches. But I've heard comments from people in crowds, and now I would take a different route. So I've been around when things have happened when I was younger, much younger, but I haven't recently been involved in a race incident myself. But as I say, in the past, yeah.
How does somebody report a racist attack?
That's important. Yeah, it's a very small proportion involve attacks as such, which is obviously a good thing. But of course, a comment, depending on the person, can be just as upsetting in many ways as an attack. Different people have different reactions to incidents. So whether it's somebody's racially abused in the street randomly, or whether it is more of a serious assault, there's different ways of reporting it. We've got the leaflets here. A good number. One, there's Oldham Race Equality Partnership, 62195991. 0161, the schools have their own racist incident reporting system for incidents in schools that children or staff can get involved in. And there is this year, I'm just looking at my notes here, we've linked up with Stop Hate UK, which looks at other incidents people sometimes get abused in the street for their sexuality or their disability as well. It's 0800 138 1625. That's anybody in Oldham can phone there. If it's something happens in a school, then the school has its own system for reporting racist incidents.
To conclude, do you think, with help from the campaign, that racism has got better in Oldham? Yeah,
I think we have moved on. Definitely, I think the campaign is part of it. I don't think we're not necessarily looking, have been in recent years, to reduce the numbers. We've been trying to get the numbers up because we think across, the country, sometimes people don't report. They just say, oh well, it's happened, I'll forget about it. But we want people to say, no, get it reported, get it dealt with. So I think what has happened is that overall, not just this campaign, Oldham has come together in many different ways and said, no, we're Oldhamers and we believe in one Oldham, and some things we won't stand for.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And now more local news. Schools are taking part in Sport Relief 2008.
Royton and Crompton School in Oldham have been doing different activities within the school day to help raise money towards this cause. We've spoken to a pupil from the school to get more information about what they've been doing.
What is your school doing for Sport Relief?
Well, we're going to be doing a big Sport Relief event to raise money for poor parts of the world.
When is the fundraiser taking place?
On Friday the 14th of March.
How many people are taking part?
The whole school and even the teachers.